friends. Michael Vanderpool here in Tbilisi. I guess they used the old name. Tbilisi. It's a place of warm waters. And there's a story behind that about a hunter and something like quail or something. Anyway, you can look that up on the internet if you're lucky enough to have it. And I'm going to bet you are if you're seeing this video. It's a beautiful day here. It's very warm. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to the post office over on Seratelli, because holy shit, it was fast. The package that my father mailed me from U.S. Post Office in Missouri, it's here. And it's pretty cool because what they do is they send an SMS. So the Georgian Post sends this SMS. I'm going to assume it's an automated system, but whatever it is, it's sending an SMS. So there's U.S. Customs numbers there, and damn, I think he mailed it just maybe last week. And I mean, that is fast. So, going by a police station now. But last week there was a short video clip with Anna Ilishishvili. Hope I said her name right. I used to meet her now and then last year, throughout the year, about once or twice a month, her and her cousin. Anyway, there's short video at Kiribati Mall. That's down in near Deserter Bazaar. And in that video, we have picked up a stun flashlight, like stun gun flashlight combination. And now I'm kind of excited because my friend's stun gun flashlight, Vipertek, we got from Amazon, shipped to my dad's, and my dad ships it over here. So Nana and I were just talking by phone. We're like, shit, who can we test this on? And she's got twin sister, fraternal. And I said, damn, let's get Yvonne and try it on him. He's a big boy. I'm joking, but anyway, we're wondering if it's going to be stronger than the police brand down at Kiribati Mall. Because I even, in the video where Anna is translating with the sales clerk, a couple of questions and responses between us about that stun gun. This one's really heavy duty and it's quite powerful. And I was just telling Nana over the phone, hey, your stun gun is here. It's actually for her daughter. And but the battery we bought at Kiribati Mall, and again, that was Anna and her boyfriend that were with me down there. It's lasting for hours, and it's like 5 times stronger on a TENS unit that I'm using. It's a prescription, and it's a German product, and I'm shocked that I could find that down at Kiribati Mall. But that German battery has been super. But I think it was the only one the shop had. That's also where Kate Latsunishvili and she's the first one to take me down there, because I think she bought a phone down there once, and we spent several hours, several times visiting there. Also, I had Georgi from Rotary Club take me down there once. And we got the tablet, like one like I'm using now, repaired down there. It was cracked. So anyway, and I think that battery is a 9-volt German rechargeable. I forget the name. But right now I'm probably about 5 minutes, 10 minutes from the post office. But how it works, your package shows up, post, they send you an SMS. It's got the US Customs number in there and the address, phone number, and website of the post office. And you know, it's much more sophisticated than anything they've got going on in Saline County, Missouri, let me tell you that. So that's here in Tbilisi. But so we got the stun gun. We'll have to charge it up though, and I should say stun gun flashlight, because I want to compare the arc, the electrical arc, because for some people, if they're in a threatening situation where someone has the intention to do them harm or to attack them, just seeing the arc may be enough, and hearing it, because you can hear that thing snap, crackle, pop. But the Vipertek product, I think, is going to be stronger and with a much more active and visible arc than the product we saw with Anna and Bertia last week or the week before, which is on a small video clip on my visit to Kitabani Mall that I posted to Facebook. So here in an hour or two, who knows how long it'll take to charge this thing up, but maybe I'll make a small video and show the stun action from the Vipertek product, because it's a heavy-duty stun gun. And again, it's for my closest Georgian friend's daughter, and just arrived here from America. Now the second thing is the Shimha Harash. I don't know how to say it correctly because I've actually never heard anyone pronounce it. But it is, there's a book that's supposed to be in this package also from Holland, and this bookshop, I wish I would have visited, if it was possible to visit. I don't even know if it's the kind of bookshop that it's possible to visit. I think not. It's more of a publishing house, if I've understood right. But in the Netherlands is located Aeon Sophia Press, and they are a great, very rare occult book publisher and distributor. So one of the most rare books from their publishing house has arrived to me here. And Victoria Kalanaski, she's often on my page here. She's an American psychic, American witch, and mother, and her and JJ have been very good friends, and they we follow each other on Facebook quite a bit. We talk by phone and things now and then, but they're going to be excited to hear that the book is here. So will Autumn down in Florida. But it's on Black Magick, but the author, while being probably really a black magician, considers any magic black. My interest in this particular work, in this particular book, is the alleged listing of somewhere around 1,725 angels. And from the year 2005, definitely 2006 here in Georgia, I had bought a small ebook on how to make extra money on the internet, and it was on dealing with the ebook business. At that time, Sacred Texts internet site, Sacred Texts Archives, has all these religious and occult texts listed there and being scanned in and being text put in. So there's a whole library online at Sacred Text. And what we used to do, Yuli and I, would be to take those texts and put them into compilations, one of which I still sell on eBay, which is the Kabbalah CD. And of course, with my prediction on war in Israel from Panama City, Panama, March 17, 2007, which was accurate, down to the day accurate, on war in Israel. It was between Israel and Lebanon that summer. And it ended with peace signatories on August 1st. It was easy to see in the stars. Plus, double up the fact that August 1st is an occult holiday. So, with the golden rectangle there in Israel's Magick astro chart, and with the occult holiday both falling on August 1st, and all the double, triple, quadruple, grand cross activity in the Israeli chart being gone by August 1st, it was very easy to see that that's when that war would be officially over, and that's when it was. Anyway, 7 years later, exactly on March 17 in 2014, from here in Tbilisi, I was over on Panetskateli, and I wrote war prediction on Ukraine, and that month later it actually became true and accurate. So that's 7 years apart, exactly to the day. That is Kabbalistic perfection on publishing predictions on war, down to the day or the month, accurate. That's just, quite frankly, that's badass. And I did that. So when we speak about black magic in this book, it doesn't mean that it's black magician that's using it necessarily, because of the 1,725 angels listed in this work. That's something that I began research on more in 2005 and 2006. I began more deep research on the Billy Edward Albert Meyer case out of Switzerland, which is a completely different topic, unrelated. And also began the research on sacred texts. So a lot of these sacred texts were on magic, astrology, esoterica, also in some cases demonology. But when I did my Kabbalistic Angels horoscope, one of the specialties, because you have to add in Saturn and Mars, because Franz Bardon leaves out Saturn and Mars in his great work, The Practice of Magical Evocation, which is where you find the Earth Zone angels and other planetary spheres angels, or intelligences, if you will, to match the Kabbalistic Angels horoscope, or because the Kabbalistic astrology horoscope or wheel is covering solar sphere, Venus or Venetian, Mercury or Mercurian, and Saturn and Mars and Earth Zone intelligences that, in the Kabbalistic point of view, Kabbalistic astrology point of view, are present with you at the time of your birth. However, if we look at it also Kabbalistically in terms of just simply positive and negative forces, then you are understanding that just because you may have an angel at birth, let's say over health, for example, you may go through a life of challenges to health to learn the hard way the positive sides of health, and to gain the knowledge and experience from the negative to be able to share and master the positive in health. This is just an example, a loose example, but a relevant example. But usually this type of Kabbalistic astrology is much more specific. So it can be anything over chemistry to writing romance novels to horticulture to scents, plants or perfumes. It could be just, you'd be surprised. It's not just about something like cursing someone or calling up an angel or a demon to become rich or something like this. It's much more vast and broad in its theory and in its practice and in its application. So in any case, around that time, I plugged in the Mars and Saturn in the horoscope that is left out by Bardon. And I think by the guy Amadeus at Amalek Serbo, because Bardon warns that unless you're mature or an adept, then in the mysteries of the Hermetics or as a magician, this knowledge could be harmful or dangerous. To know what is your Mars or Saturn, or to evoke Mars or Saturn sphere entities or intelligences. So what I find is that my Mars and Saturn placements in Kabbalistic astrology, Kabbalistic angels astrology, are exactly connected to UFOs and ufology, UFOs and the study of UFOs and ufology, and also connected to demons and demonology. So that I found to be very interesting, because I actually had already studied that in terms of demonic exorcism. In fact, I had a lecture course by one of the foremost exorcists in the United States, Christian couple that did that work together, married couple. And of course you heard the story about the Warrens and their experience with demonic exorcism. I'd also already been studying the Billy Meyer UFO case, because I'd actually got the book here in Tbilisi, And Still They Fly, which on pages 266 and 267 talk exactly about the warning of World War III starting from the Eastern Bloc countries and how they most likely lose their freedom, their newly won freedom, because, in other words, in short, they mess up, they make the huge mistake. And also, due to the illegal, unethical actions of Western countries, secret services, intelligence agencies, and so forth. And I found that to be true in my experience. They're interfering in a lot here. So, but you'll find this written about, this warning about World War III, starting from right here in the former Eastern Bloc countries, like Ukraine, for example, and Georgia, due to the unethical and illegal interference of Western nations, intelligence, and secret services in these countries, and the people here, their lack of taking care of the responsibility of keeping their freedom, because they'll lose it if this thing goes down wrong. They're not only them, their children and their grandchildren, and I mean, they may never see freedom again, what little they may have, or more or less. Anyway, that's on page 266, 267 of And Still They Fly by Guido Moosbrugger. I actually met Guido years later. I think it was about 2012, 2013 in Switzerland after peace meditation. We got done with a 20-minute Salome peace meditation, and we come outside, and I was standing there. I can't remember if it was Patrick or another guy, but one of the core group members, I think. But Guido was there. Fantastic. What an honor and a privilege and just a pleasure to meet Guido, the author of this book. And I remember getting it here in the mail and getting on the bus with Yulia in 2005 in Tbilisi and looking through and seeing the pictures of the UFOs and how hyperspace travel and time travel in theory and practice, according to them, works, and all these things. And it was fantastic. But we're on a bus here in Tbilisi, and on page 266 and 267 I'm reading about the warning about the beginning of World War III happening right here and in the former Eastern Bloc countries potentially. And it's a pretty strong warning. And the indication is that these guys don't win. They lose it all if they don't keep their responsibility in their newly won freedom. Because even Ronald Reagan is quoted down on a bench at Magick Park near Peace Bridge, right? That freedom isn't free. Freedom is maybe just like one generation away from being lost. You have to be always vigilant about freedom. You can't depend on your American friends. You can't depend on your British friends. If you're American or British, you have to take care of that yourself every day. They still have to watch out for it because they've got other interests, not just foreign, but also domestic, sometimes corporate. There are other interests, secret sex, that's SECTS, that will target individuals, groups, nations. For their own interests, often against their own freedom and best interests. Anyway, for those that can follow everything that I just said, that is a little journey from about books, which I'm getting ready to pick up a book. Again, this is a book on black magic, but it has 1,725 angels listed. And I began the study of this sort of thing with the Kabbalistic Angels calculator that I got here in the mail from America, also in 2006. And that's the first time I was able to calculate. It was either 2005 or 2006. I came here in October 2005, first time in Tbilisi, and was here into 2006, into August. So it was the first time I was able to calculate the Kabbalistic Angels horoscope with that Kabbalistic astrology or Kabbalistic Angels astrology calculator. It's a wheel within a wheel. It's a dial within a dial. So what I'm doing today in picking up this package sent to me from America and this book on what is called by the author Black Magic, but which lists 1,725 angels, it just continues my research on what I've been researching and studying as far back as at least 2005, 2006 here in Tbilisi. Actually goes back before that, long before that. So, but I think I'd have to count it, but I think that's a directory of allegedly new angels from a cipher or a gematria, positive or negative forces, in this case, Kabbalistically speaking, positive forces. That might be more in number than what we find in Franz Bardon's The Practice of Magical Evocation. That would be an interesting comparison. So that's why I'm excited to get this book also, not just because of the other reasons, such as it being a book on magic. So I'm in Saratelli right now in Tbilisi, and I'm getting ready to go into the post office, show them this SMS and my ID card, and hopefully pick up this package. I guess I can just keep this on while I do it. But another thing is in the book business. It's very difficult to be competitive in the book business because we used to make extra money every month, eBay, just selling books. Then comes changes in technology. You get a subscription now to Amazon, and you can get like thousands and thousands of books for a subscription, like $10 a month. Same thing with Script. And then you get the situation where the technology itself, why buy a book? For some people don't want a book, they'd rather read it in electronic format. And I'm reading a Lewis comment here. Looking through your front camera, a good way of seeing if you're being followed. That's funny. Well, who knows, right? But and Lewis, maybe the more important question is not am I being followed? The question is who is following, right? So I'm getting ready to walk in the post office. I'm at the post office right now. It's been really modernized since 2006, even 2010. They, in fact, used to have to drive out to the airport to pick up packages from overseas. Now you get them right here. It's just a 10-minute walk from where I rent a flat, and it's modern, it's new. I get an SMS, my package is here, and goddamn, I think it's been less than a week. That's fast from America, and no extra shipping. That's just and it's USPS. It's not. In this case, it's not even EMS. It's not FedEx or DHL. It's USPS. So that's pretty fast. But anyway, it's about books. It's about knowledge. It's about research. But also in the book business, when you deal with books that aren't in electronic format, like occult books, black magic, fringe topics, which the UFO group in Switzerland, I think, is something like fringe interest in ufological studies or something like this. I don't have the exact, thing memorized about what figu actually means, but in these fringe topics, there's some exciting, interesting information for those that are into that. And I found the metaphysics to be there when I didn't expect it to be there at all. I mean, that's mind-blowing to me, because when you talk about UFOs, you're thinking about maybe you're in the Air Force, maybe you're into military stuff, maybe you're into aviation, maybe you're into, who knows, maybe ancient or hidden history, archaeology, right? Like history that conquerors of nations have tried to suppress or change the texts about and rewriting the history of various nations or various histories around the world. So there's different people that have interest in UFOlogy for various reasons, including national security. But, we grew up in America on Star Trek, a lot of us, and Star Wars and things like that. So for us, it's not such a crazy thing because, we'd watch that on television, or at least I did, and many of my friends, other fellow Americans, watched that on television. So for us, Star Trek, Star Wars, Close Encounters of Third Kind or First Kind or whatever it was, all these kind of things were, man, that was like 30 years ago for some of us. So, but what shocks me is to find so much metaphysical and spiritual information in the Billy Edward Albert Meyer UFO case. And so that's why I continue to study it really at this point. I mean, there's all this great scientific, technical, even health information in there, and historical information, scientific information. In fact, it's the only ongoing, scientifically proven UFO real contact case. Anyway, I'm here at the post office. I'm going to walk in and get this package. Maybe I can get it here on film and see if it's what I expect it to be.
Yes. I can give me your ID.
Signer.
Full last name. Thank you. Do you need package? Package. Card. 4 person.
Just take it.
Yeah, we have it.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's really very cool.
Yeah, can you help me?
Thank you much.
You're
That was
welcome.
fast too. Came from America, like in 1 week, I think.
1 week?
I think.
Yes, we have a primary flight to with America.
It's
And
fast
it's
now.
Fast, yes.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, so I'm back here. She confirmed here at the post office, the Georgian post, that they've got primary flights now. So from America, this package, I mean, damn, 1 week? So it's a pretty big box in there. So that's, you know, I get the text. It's got the customs number. It's got the address of the post office, their website, their phone number, their business hours. And that package, I'd have to check exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's less than a week and a half, if not a week. That's just fast. And no extra shipping. I mean, it's not a light package per se, because there's a couple of pounds of Moringa powder. from the Moringa plant or tree. Crushed leaves, powdered leaves. But the Vipertek stun gun flashlight is in there, which I'm going to charge up. And when my friend Nana's ready to come and get it, then she's going to be able to try that out. But I want to hopefully get that on video before I give it to Nana. And this is one of the bus stops behind me. So I'm not far from Tbilisi Metro here in Georgia. And, you know, I used to come by here, like, when I was first getting around and getting to know the place better, I would get lost, which is kind of fun sometimes, just to get lost. And I mean really lost, especially in a foreign city. And I've done that in Kiev, not just Georgia, and I've also done it in Europe. And it certainly wasn't intentional. But some of the best things that I found is when I went off the normal path, so to speak. In Kiev, there was a very interesting man that used to meet with me from time to time, a graduate of Stanford University, literally a Stanford man, kind of like the guy that I had met at Lancet Medical Center around October 3rd or October 4th. But this Stanford man in Kiev would be around about every 3 or 4 months. He would come in from Siberia, deep Russia. And he had a business card. He handed me this business card. And on one side was the US Embassy. And on the other side, his business, which was the mortgage business. And it was with the practice and the reality of helping Russians own their own home through financing, which at the time was a very rare thing, especially deep in Siberia. And he always said, Michael, you can't imagine the richness and the depth of the Russian language. He goes, but to learn it, you must know, you must learn the grammar. You may have to study the grammar book 3 to 4 hours a day. Maybe blood, sweat, tears. He goes, but did you see the waitress's face light up when I could speak to her in perfect Russian? And of course, this was at a cafe in Kiev at the time, during the days of the Orange Revolution, at the time that I was with Yulia, who was then just my interpreter. But she participated in the Orange Revolution in her spare time. For many years, she's been rather revolutionary. Wouldn't that be my luck to meet somebody like that on the start of my international travel? And how ironic, 2 years later, to be hacking your way through a swamp and in a rainforest jungle outside 4 hours west of Santa de Veracruz, Panama. Anyway, back to Kiev, the Stanford man. Somehow we just had a knack of running into me. Somehow he'd just find me. Somehow I'd run into him in Club 111, the famous, popular club at the time. But he loved the richness and the depth of the Russian language, and also Russian children's stories, Russian fairy tales. And he was sincere about it. That's the thing. He really loved it. But he was an American Stanford man. And I'll always have this beautiful memory from this American in Kiev. He'd come and spend about a week there, usually on Embassy Row. One night he had a Ukrainian Special Forces man, former Special Forces man, prepare us an authentic Ukrainian meal. Everything in this meal was Ukrainian cuisine. And it was on Embassy Row, so big, beautiful apartment building with old world architecture, but just wonderful, beautiful. And we had wine and we had Ukrainian dishes. And this former Ukrainian Special Forces man preparing it. And we all sharing that together. And years later, as I began to miss my visits with Jose, I had one day got on the Google and looked up the man's name, and it's fascinating because you look up this guy's name, Jose, and you look up the Spanish, right? Because Jose is Spanish. He was Spanish, but Stanford man, and his last name in the Spanish language is the name of the saint of the new house. And I thought, how perfect of a coincidence, because in that is exactly what he'd done. He had helped with a mortgage finance company in deep Siberia, and obviously worked with the state in that capacity to help Russians buy and own their own house through mortgage financing. So it's just an incredible story. Absolutely incredible. And it's the saint of the new house. This was his last name. Stanford man. Absolutely loved the Russian language, the Russian children's stories, fairy tales. I remember the girl that I had talked with on the earlier live stream video today. So I was walking down the street, her and her sister and her father. I had met her one night at a cafe on Perovskaya, and its name translates to Russian fairy tale. And it's interesting because for several years, my best-selling product on eBay, as I mentioned in a previous video, I'd sold over 60,000 books and CDs over eBay this last dozen years or so. And one of the biggest things that sold after they changed the rules and made digital downloads it's not possible anymore through eBay. You can't sell digital download on eBay. And that changed our ebook sales dramatically. That happened while we were in the States. So I had to find hardcover, real world books. And I had another friend in Kiev, Chinese man, that grew up in Hong Kong. And at the age of 18, he left China. Went to California, went to university. I guess he was around 30 or so. He started to travel. He ended up in Kiev teaching English to the elite, children of the elite. And he loved, and I mean really loved, tango, salsa. So I think it was every Thursday. It might have changed from Tuesday, but every Thursday or Tuesday. I think it was every Thursday. We'd go to the Caribbean Club in Kiev, and there was the night for tango, and that was his strongest point. And he was always usually dating at least 4 or 5 women at a week, and often very different women. But he was a Chinese American from the age 18 forward. And here he was at the age of 30 or so in Kiev teaching English and living a wonderful life. His passion of dancing at the Caribbean Club, tango and salsa. But one day when I was far away from Kiev, and in fact, also from Yulia, many years later, I learned from him about the Anastasia series of books by the Russian author Vladimir Megre. And it's a wonderful story. Actually, I had heard about it from Yulia. We looked at it, but we never delved in the hardcover books much then on eBay. So what we had understood, though, is that it helped to change Yulia's whole perspective on spirituality. The Anastasia series of books are also sold in Ukraine, and we actually had the original Russian language copy. And I think at the time there was maybe 9 such books in the series, Anastasia, Ringing Cedars. So I contacted Ringing Cedars Press later, North America, and got the second edition as well as the first edition in English version that Ringing Cedars puts out, and just sold them by the lot. So all 9 books, if it wasn't all 9 books, I wouldn't sell it. It wasn't worth fooling with on eBay. So for years, I'd travel the world, expat style especially, but not always, and sometimes tourist style too. Italy, Rome, Santa Marinella, Zurich, Figu, SSSC in Switzerland, and so on. New Zealand is 45 days. But I would always be selling the Russian books in English. And not just one, but always at least 9, sometimes 18. So it's a box, probably twice as big as this box. By the way, this box was $70 to ship here. It's got 2 pounds of Moringa powder, a Vipertek stun gun, and a book from the Netherlands, Aeon Sophia Press. And what that meant was we go to the USPS and put in the 9 or 18 books. So that's a medium to large size USPS box with a flat rate international shipping. So we did that for a number of years, and a few things changed. I think that's the same name of the battery that I used these days, 10's unit, Varta. That's so damn good. They told me it was German. I see there's a whole list. There's another German battery there. Anyway, 9-volt rechargeable battery, just awesome, just kicks ass. I mean, really, it's so much better than the ones I got on eBay. And I'm sure I could probably get that on eBay too. It's not about eBay. It's just that I don't know how I hadn't heard about this battery before. This last week when I went with Anna or met with Anna and her boyfriend down there and they found this battery for me. But yeah, that's the only way I'd sell these books on eBay. All 9. It had to be at least 9. It wasn't worth fooling with. It wasn't worth the small profit or the time to sell it like one by one. So for years, I sold these Russian books in English on eBay. And it was funny because when I went to Russia in 2009, the security guy at the airport, they'd pull people out of the line and they'd all be all straight-faced, serious and stuff. Very serious faces there. And the guy's asking me, like, where are you from? Why are you here? How long are you going to stay? Who are you visiting? What's their phone number? All these, like, what do you do? So when I got to these questions, because he couldn't understand what's an American doing in Krasnodar Krai, South Russia, and what some Georgians have told me is a very criminal region of Russia. I don't know about that, but I didn't have any such problems there. And it was a very beautiful city I stayed in too, by the way, but small Russian city. But what was interesting is that when I told this security guy at the airport, I mean, he actually had me in a room asking me these questions. What do you do for a living? I said, I'm selling books. What books? I said, I said, they're Russian books, but I said, like Russian children's books. And you know the look on the face of a dog when he farts, when he passes the gas, you know, he kind of a cock your head, twist your head, confused look, like it so disturbed his brain somehow that the interview was over. Suddenly I mind screwed him to the point to where he just decided the interview, it's enough questions, it's over. But I was telling the truth. Yes. Anastasia books, spiritual books, I'd say kind of like children's fantasy books. I mean, come on. You get a Russian shaman girl that lives in the forest that can do magic or magical shaman type stuff, that can foretell the future, and there's something very, very magical and healthy and healing about ringing cedars and cedar pine pendants and cedar nuts and cedar oil and all the good stuff from deep in Siberia. And it just, but it's fact. But later, my fixer guy, my travel agent guy for Russia, who was actually in New York, but he always arranged for my visa to Russia. He said, Mike, if you're coming to Russia for these books, why aren't you going to author city, Voronezh or whatever, wherever he lives, Voronezh or whatever. And I never made it to see the author of these books. It would be interesting though, because they're a best-selling set of books. 11 million worldwide by word of mouth. That's incredible. But that's how great they are. That's how interesting they are. They're bestsellers, still. And they're Russian. Then I sold them for years. So, on eBay. And quite frankly, I outsold everybody in the way that I sold them and the way that I did it. I don't think there's one seller in the world, including the other distributor, that outsold me. But you know, I get a lot of that's the thing, I want to point this out. This is why you can never trust statistics and analytics from YouTube and so on. We learned this in the American Military University online, on web analytics. And that is to say that you can't trust view counts or web analytics because there's technical issues. There's never a way to get an accurate count. You can just hope to get near or some kind of picture from such numbers, some such statistics and analytics, web analytics. So after I took that course, I had already understood it, but I understood it more. It was just confirmed to me in this class. That was autumn 2015 when I took it online at the American Military University. And I've actually called in and seen him just change the numbers on my own website. I've flown from America, stopped in Germany, stopped in Moscow. I was at the German airport, international. I used the internet, I checked websites, I moved around videos, I checked view counts. I was selling books, you know, on the internet. I had to keep an eye on all that. And then I realized that it wasn't picking up the views. I stopped in Germany, I stopped in even Kansas City International Airport too, and used the internet at all these places. And it would never pick up the view counts. And so when I called into Yahoo at the time, who had the web hosting and web browser and all this stuff, they just changed it right there on the phone. They just flipped it. And so instead of having 0 on one page, suddenly there's 300 views. Yeah, they just changed it. Yuli and I used to watch that on YouTube. If we wanted to sell some books quick on our eBay listing, what we would do is just go to YouTube. Then we'd get to the video like that Tom Cruise mockery, Athene wins, like a video like that. And these gamer videos, the guys like that has sense of humor, good looking girl, and apparently some of the gay boys, I'm not sure, that one guy's joking, I'm sure, without the shirt. You'd get on there, you'd comment, you'd list, and as you did that, if you're getting like, let's say, hundreds of thousands of views in a day, or let's say 10 to 20,000 views and comments, active comments on a YouTube channel within the hour, I mean, this is a big secret I'm giving. This is how we do it if we really wanted to sell something fast. If you've got that kind of volume and traffic, and you're on a super popular YouTube channel like Aeon Wins, like this is back in 2010, for example, or whenever that was very popular. It would have had to have been before that. It would have had to have been more like back in 2007. It goes back quite a ways. So, but back then, they would have so many comments coming in that you'd only see comments for about 20 minutes, and then they drop off the page because these videos were so popular and they're getting so much traffic. So if I posted a comment and then my stuff's all linked up to an eBay link or just my name and a search, I'd sell a book within the hour. Because if you get 10 to 20,000 people that are tuned into it, like a YouTube channel, and you comment there and you've got any sales at all on the internet, you're selling something. Because with that kind of volume and that kind of click-through rate, that kind of viewership, that kind of traffic, with that kind of popularity, and you're commenting on that, within that 20 minutes, if you just posted 4 different times within those 4 different 20-minute windows within 1 hour, suddenly you've sold your product. You've got a sale. Because with that massive amount of numbers, you're going to sell. You're going to sell product. In this case, books. So that's because we'd sit there and we'd watch and we analyze, and we noticed that after 20 minutes, there were so many posts that they just drop off. Comments. They just drop them off. They just disappear. That's how popular back then things like that were. Nowadays, they've changed it to where, look at this view. They've changed it to where I think it's like within the first 24 hours, you can't have more than, 301 views anyway? I mean, what is that? So anyway, I've begun to practice with this live stream, as you see on Facebook, but I've also posted on Steemit, DTube, Newsflare, and got an account registered with Vimeo. I consider going with, the Russian social media network, VK, Contact, or others. When I asked Lena about it a month or so ago in St. Petersburg, she said, try YouTube Russia, but I'm thinking I don't want to use the same companies. I want to, try other new social media and video platforms. So, because after the shadow banning and shadow blocking, that's explained, that's been used by Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, as reported on naturalnews.com and also on Fox News, Sean Hannity. And that's mainstream. That's legit news. So, after hearing about that and seeing some evidences of that here on my own Facebook and channels, I've decided to go ahead and branch out and try some of these other platforms, which are not owned and controlled by the same interests or the same companies like Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So in any case, that's what I'm up to these days with this, because sales back then were working like that. If you've got the traffic, another issue is this. Let's say, for example, I'm posting really drama, controversy. For example, I post videos getting censored, blacked out, blurred, and I've got a video of the video of the video of that fact. So we can say, yeah, sure, that's technical error, but when it happens several times in a row, and these different methods that they're experimenting with doing it, so whatever it is, it's inadequate and it's bullshit. So, but when I post it, my Facebook automatically tweets. It's connected to my Twitter account. And as that's happened, then I noticed today as usual, because it's drama, it's dramatic shit, it's controversial, and these kind of things always draw more traffic. More traffic equals oftentimes more sales. Unless you're being shadow banned or shadow blocked. In such cases, maybe not. But what I noticed on the Twitter analytics, the Twitter view counts, the Twitter impressions, in the last 24 hours, they have, I think they've nearly doubled. Because the top tweets from my Facebook, because again, my Facebook posts are automatically connected to Twitter and tweeting out, and that is a separate additional view count of how many people are seeing my posts and here on Facebook. So what happens is that those numbers double, and as they double, typically in the past, with sales links or sales listings associated with my name on the internet, such as on eBay, Amazon, and then my website, astrology readings, and so on, then sales would usually increase. Let me give you an example. Back in 2010, 2011, when dramatic shit would happen here in Tbilisi, then sales, let's say for example May and June, sales would double. Sales would double because viewer count would double. Sales would double because traffic would double. Traffic would double because there was bullshit happening here. Like everybody beating on each other in the streets over protests, shit like that. Because drama and weirdness on the internet often will draw traffic. So the more conflict, drama, weirdness, or controversy, the more interesting, bizarre shit that you can come up with, the more traffic it will bring, which often results in more click-throughs, more sales. And that's exactly what happened. So in that June, when all that dramatic shit happened, sales literally doubled in volume, and that's a month that usually they drop. Why do they usually drop? Because most people are active as fuck. They're out, they're traveling, they're not in school, they're not on their laptop, they're not on their computer as much, at least back in 2010. So sales would drop. But in cases where you've got drama, conflict, controversial stuff, for example, my videos being blocked and censored, and I'm in this unusual international situation here in a country that's being occupied by Russian forces or Russian-backed forces, things like that, then you get more views. More traffic typically results in more sales, because traffic usually results in more click-throughs. More click-throughs results in usually more sales, because without it, you don't make any sales. Anyway. So there's a few little kind of renegade, rogue, hardcore, guerrilla sales, internet sales secrets. I don't know if they're secrets so much as that it's just things that I've noticed that work and that have this effect, because I've been doing this for more than a dozen years. So I kind of know, kind of have an idea. You know, what's interesting is that I kind of know better than about certain things than these young tech people that get on the internet and they think they have a point of view on how to work things, and then you get caught censoring, caught with little nuances that you're aware of from all these years of experience as an internet worldwide sales person, marketing, PR. So now we'll open up this box. I'm going to get to the graffiti bench and have a look at what we got here from America in what looks to be maybe less than a week. Let's have a look. Alright. Yeah, you can see the graffiti behind me now. Let's see, what do we got there? I don't know, man. This is going to be a little bit tricky to open this up. Let me just put this down for a second. Look at this. That is just gay as hell. No, it's for a girl. So, there is the Vipertek brand, and there is the what you never want to meet on the wrong side of things. Yeah. So this is from my friend's daughter. We got it from Amazon. I called the postmaster in Marshall, Missouri, to make sure at USPS it was okay to ship it. Because there are some restricted items. This is apparently not one of them. So there's the Vipertek brand. This is the heavy duty one. And so we're gonna go plug this in, and then they're gonna test this son of a bitch before Nana finds out and wants to come and pick it up. So we're gonna go plug this in. Now, what else did I get? But this is really great stuff. This is also mentioned in the Meyer or the Figu contact notes or whatever. This is what I've been taking for the last few weeks now, and it's just like Randy Arena on my friends list has some writing on how to do this on your own, grow this on your own. It's tree leaves, but it's probably one of the more important superfoods, nutritionally speaking, in the world. So you guys that are in the research, need a little health boost. I'm not a doctor, I don't give medical advice, but check this out. I got 2 pounds of it. Then, on the other side of things here, I've got the... You see how that works? And that's like something like a triangle within a triangle within a triangle. But each one of those points goes around into positive or negative forces, Kabbalistically speaking. And this is also mentioned or referenced maybe briefly in the contact notes of Billy Meyer case on contact 007, I think. At least about the positive and negative forces in Magick. So here is the... and it's from Holland, Aeon, Sophia Press. So I'm really excited about this. It's a pretty big book too. And I'm going to go ahead and open it. Hope this video will post because I think like I've walked all the way to the post office and back. Let's try. Oh, and let me show you the SMS that came. That's a hog there. I wish Troy Eads was watching. He's into that. They had that down at I don't say it. Salukato Bar, which is behind Smart. It's on my Google Maps. I'm a Google local guide, and I've got a really nice review. So here is the SMS. See that in the highlight? It's U.S. number. So, and what that is, it's from G Post, Georgian Post, G Post. There's the date. There's the website. And then the phone number and the address. Post office. It's 95 Ceratelli. So that's badass. It's like less than a week and a half. Packages here. It's over at the post office. I get the SMS. I go down, boom, pick it up. I just show my ID card. I electronically sign my last name only. She brings out the box. Boom. That's it. And I've got this awesome product that I'm going to go demo before my friend finds out. She watches my page, maybe not. She's probably tired of my shit. Anyway, so I want to go test this and see what kind of shock this does versus what we saw in the last video with Anna Elishashvili and her boyfriend Berdia at Kitabani Mall about almost 2 weeks ago. But I think this one's going to be much more stronger, much more dramatic in its effect. So, and then, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of writing here about the Moringa powder. This product too I got on Amazon. Here's a little holster thingy that comes with the stun flashlight, because remember, this is also, see that? It's also a flashlight. So it's a stun device, but it's also a flashlight. Vipertek, Amazon, heavy duty. So I'm excited to see how that works. Now let me open up this book, and maybe the devil's in there waiting to jump out. I don't know. Alright, so it's a double cellophane wrap product, that's for sure. So about Aeon Sophia Press, that's awesome. Here's the cover without cellophane wrap, but again, double. That means 2 cellophane wraps. So that's nice. They're very proud of their work, their books. This is a nice kind of cloth almost feel to the hardcover of what is Black Magic Evocation of the Shempa Mepharash. And again, I don't know if I've said that right, because no one's ever said it that I know. So here's a good shot of the publisher and of the actual book, Aeon Sophia Press. So I've already posted photos of this book in anticipation of getting it. So for those that want to read more about that, you can go to Aeon Sophia's Press, or you can look back into where I've actually posted photographs from Aeon Sophia Press of the actual book. So, look at that, look at that. It looked like this one model girl that is on my Facebook, Katja Janadze, I think is the last name. But Katja, that looks like Katja, but that's not Katja. But she caught my attention. Just anyway, so sometimes that's happening here a lot. But it's an interesting dog she has too. Don't you love the graffiti behind me here? I bet this is quite convenient park bench, because from here I'm going to go to someplace else that I need to stop by before I go back and charge this device. So now we're going to test this live stream stuff, see how it's working. I went a little longer maybe, I hope, than I did last time. And for you folks watching, let's see some friends here. Louis, Jason Wright, Mary, Zarendia. See, I can't see any of your questions though. I wonder what's up with that. I have seen Louis post. Figu is the German part of Switzerland, so they speak German. All of Meyer's original writings are in German, most translated to English, but not all of them yet. Yeah, and it's the most, for me, the most important and exciting works in the world. I mean, I've gotten 4 of Billy Meyer's books, or books from Figu. I've gotten And Still They Fly by Guido Moosbrugger, as I mentioned earlier in this. And I've gotten The Might of Thoughts and Die Psyche, and I don't know if it would be the 5th edition, because I have the 4th edition too, of Talmud of Manuel, but as we know, those of us familiar with Figu, with Billy Edward Albert Myers, and the spiritual teachings and the contact notes, and what Semyaze and the Playaran have said, we know that the 4th edition, which I first got in 2007, I'm in America reading that book, and man, I got sick at my stomach, because I read the Elijah and the predictions there's 2 prophets. In the back there's predictions, and those can't be changed, but we don't know when in timeline by straight out dates. You may know by trying to sequence clues or prophecies or other predictions, and then watching and seeing what's taken place and what hasn't. But you really, it's left up, if I've understood it right, it's left up to the reader. It's left up to the student, or the aspiring student of the Meyer material, with the spiritual teachings, the predictions, and the contact notes, and so on. It's up to the people it's up to the individual to figure that out if they want, if they can. So not everything is known in the sequence that it may come down the pike, so to speak. But there are 2 predictions in there, if I remember correctly, in the Talmud of Emmanuel and in the book of I think it's Elijah. I have a little memory issue remembering that, because my first son's middle name is Elias, and in a book of names, it's named after actually a derivative of that same prophet's name, biblical prophet. So in the Talmud of Emmanuel, in the 4th edition, there is some predictions. And in one of these prophets, I think, Jeremiah and Elias, I think, or Elijah. Those predictions are pretty disturbing. So, I think Michael Horn has maybe referenced that in the Silent Revolution of Truth DVD, which is one of the first commentary videos that I make on YouTube, which pretty much started, it's one of the first few, if not the first, to start my YouTube channel. So, but anyway, I have the 5th edition, Talmud of Manuel, if I've understood right, and it's back at home, because I obviously can't carry all of these books. But I do have Die Psyche here with me. I have that one here. But Talmud of Emmanuel, 5th edition, the big thick one, that's back in America. I think I left The Might of Thoughts back there too. I think it's a little bigger book. And because as you see, I'll have to already do something with this one that I've got, because every additional pound, everything is packed tightly for this type of international flights. And when you've got 3 different flights, if you've got excess baggage fees, those get expensive super fast. So I only take about 50 pounds or less on each international flight, because fees can be well an extra 100 for just an extra pound over. So that's not a lot of stuff you can carry and plan to take off at any moment and put into your suitcase or leave behind somewhere. So I've got 4 of Billy's, or the Figu's books. Talmud of Emmanuel. I had the 4th edition, but now I've also got the new edition, the 5th edition. And if it's called the 5th edition, I just know I've got the newest, latest, in addition to the 4th edition. And I've got the And Still They Fly by Guido Musburger. As I said, I know I'm repeating myself. Also, The Might of Thoughts and Daiseki. I do not have The Way to Live yet. I don't have that one. You know, how to apply the spiritual teachings in daily life. I don't have that yet. But I'm hearing, and the excerpts I've seen of that are that it's very good. So, what I'm noticing is I only see 1 comment right now, no views. It's just live. So again, I'm kind of testing this device, testing this to see what kind of feedback I get, to see how this works, to kind of play with this, so that if something more interesting or maybe even serious or newsworthy comes up, or maybe I just want to go out and show some different parts of Tbilisi as I know it and have enjoyed it over the years, then I'll be able to do that without losing some important footage, or without wasting my time, so to speak. So it's everything keeps working the way that it should with this, then maybe I'll do this more often, because it does provide content for YouTube and for DTube and Newsflare and Vimeo and the Daily Motion and other video platforms that I'll be trying to watch for and try out with the video. So now that I've got this stuff here, the book, the Moringa powder, and the Vipertek stun gun, I'm going to go charge this up after I go and do a little bit of shopping near here, and then make a short video on how that Vipertek stun gun is working, if it works as it should. So anyway, thanks for watching, friends. I hope that I've shared something along the way that is entertaining, interesting, or helpful. I guarantee you that the books that I just mentioned are among the most precious that you can have in your study or your library, or that you can pick up and read. It's fascinating. Daiseki on the Plane, I remember reading, it goes very deep into human psychology and the way you're thinking. Obviously, you can tell that by the title. But I mean in a way that you're not going to find in your typical, high school or university or college psychology books or classes. So it's refreshing, and it goes far beyond what you can find anywhere else on Earth, I promise you. So Daiseki I was reading on a flight over, and here you are, 33,000 or 38,000 feet above the Atlantic. You've got an 8-hour flight ahead of you, or you're in the middle of that flight. You're with God knows what country of people, or people from all different kinds of countries, and you're reading the most incredible depth of information on spirit, consciousness, and psyche and psychology that you just can't find anywhere else, in the richness and in the depth, and all together, just in a rich way, in one book. And that's what you get with Daiseki from Figure. So it was one of those flights that I actually come up with the creative idea. I was actually reading Terry and Linda Jameson, the Psychic Twins, book on psychic intelligence before I left. And I was taking this flight, and I'll get a lot of anxiety, and I remember using the technique to calm the mind and to positively affirm that everything was going to be fine. Because sometimes it's hard to step onto a plane and go halfway across the world. I mean, it's not a small trip when you go back to America from here, or vice versa when you come back. There's several factors involved in 3 different flights, a complete flip in time zone and all that. So what was cool is that I used a creative free flow technique to come up with some ideas from my mom's business. And that was the implementation of some changes in the reconstruction, the remodeling there, and a marketing strategy directly connected to that as well. PR strategy, marketing strategy, and directly in regards to that. So that I think was a profitable idea, and it has been a profitable idea to a greater or lesser extent over the years, and that was just from coming up with a creative, practical, effective, profitable idea on a flight back home. And that's the kind of things that books like Psychic Intelligence by the Psychic Twins, by Terry and Linda Jameson, and they're on my friends list here on Facebook. They have commented or posted from time to time over the years on some of my posts, and vice versa. And I got a reading with them a couple times over the last 12 years. Oh, I'm sorry, over the last 8 years. But these types of books, these types of studies, they encourage creativity, they encourage progress, they encourage a creative and innovative approach to problem solving, and whether it involves profit or business, or whether it involves the more spiritual side of life. They absolutely encourage creativity and problem solving and solutions and innovation. So I can say that it's been, in that case, it was incredibly helpful and profitable to the family business because they implemented that idea. And that's a good thing for us to all remember in life. Anyway, you'll learn things like this by studying the Meyer case, the contact notes, the spiritual teachings, the introduction to spiritual teachings, contact note 18 in particular, also the 77 meditations, the high and clear view, visibility, and meditation, Billy Meyer, and so on. You'll learn all these things if you study it, practice it, and keep with it. It's not something you're going to pick up in one read, and I mean, maybe, but it's something that you develop like a new skill or a new way of exercising a skill or a practice. Anyway, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go charge up this Vipertek after I get done with a little shot. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, friends.